Good morning, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world. You tuned in to the Mac City Morning Show. I am your host, Elliot Pierre, and we're going to start the show off the same way we start every episode off, with a moment of gratitude. I know you could be doing a million other things with your time, so the fact you spend it with us truly does mean the world to me. So thank you. On that note, Tanner, hit him with the intro.
Hey everybody, Keith Simpson here from Norel Toyota. Just a quick chat about the wonderful community we live in here. As you guys know, we support the Oil Barons. We've done the drive-in movie theater. We're involved in the marathon here in Fort McMurray, and make sure we're taking care of the kids and all the local businesses, all the local charities, and all the local foundations, guys. That's what makes this community.
Whatty up, boss? Welcome to the Mac City Morning Show.
Right, and we're back. Big shout out to our title sponsor, Norel Toyota. You guys just saw Keith and the guys down there, boys and girls. So Keith, Fad, and Nimmer, all the boys and girls down at Norel, thank you very much for sponsoring the show. It helps us keep the lights on. We do appreciate it. On that note, we're going to start the show. As you know, I don't introduce my guests because they can do a better job at that than myself. So on that note, sir, can you please tell everybody at home who you are and what you're about?
Good morning, I'm Justin Herman. Before we start, I'd just like to put some recognition out there. We're on Treaty 8 territory and on the unceded land of the Métis and First Nations here in the Wood Buffalo region. I'm Justin Herman. I'm the CEO for the Chard Metis Nation and the CEO also for the Chard Metis Dene Group of Companies, and also one of the owners of Saskana Group of Companies.
Cool. That's a lot of titles. Busy man.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I've always recognized about you, like since we started hanging out as adults. You don't stop.
Well, it depends who you ask, I guess, because some people may think all I do is golf. The other people say I don't stop. You know, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle.
That's right.
Yeah.
So let's kick it off with your history. Obviously we've spent some time together, so I know a lot about your background. But for some of the people at home who've never actually had the opportunity to sit down and talk to you, like, how did this all start? I know Fort McMurray's not home for you. You grew up somewhere else, and then you came to Fort McMurray, started going to school here. But let's hear that background story, Justin.
Well, I was actually born in the Northern Lights Hospital here, and then I was raised out in the community of Janvier by my grandparents. And I was actually raised on the trap line. My first language is actually Chippewa Dene.
That's right.
I didn't really learn how to speak English until I went to school at Father Arper in Northland School Division out in Janvier.
Right.
So English is my second language. Yes.
Yeah, which is very cool. Like, that gives you such an edge in regards to speaking to people within your culture. And I see you at Indigenous events, just like jumping back and forth, and it gives you a level like of respect in that community that you can speak the language.
Do you know what doctor at the Northern Lights Regional Hospital delivered you? Was it Dr. Wong?
Dr. KP Wong.
There you go.
Shout out KP Wong.
Yeah, I think he delivered half the people in the community here.
Everybody in this room.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's right.
There's got to be at least almost a 20-year age difference between myself and the young fellow.
Yeah,
there.
that's right.
So,
that's right.
Oh yeah, he delivered so many people.
Yeah.
No, but back to the question. I don't know if it gives me any more respect than the next person, but it's a lot easier to communicate. It's a lot easier for myself to relate. You know, and unfortunately, I used to be very fluent as it was my first language, but you know, you start losing a bit of it the more the less you use it, right?
That's
so
right. That's right.
I when I get back to the community, I try to speak as much as possible to my family and whatnot. But unfortunately, there's not that many people in Fort McMurray that speak it, right? So,
That's right. And that's what I was just going to ask you in regards to individuals who want to learn the language. Is this something that is still kind of taught? Like, could you take a class out back home for you? Or is this something that you kind of have to just pass down through generations?
Well, you know, when I actually went to school here for a couple of years at Father Turcotte, and I remember when I went to Father Turcotte in grade 4, they actually had Cree and Chippewan classes there.
Oh, cool.
Right? So actually one of our teachers used to be Jeanette Jones-Flett, and I went to school with her daughter, Justina Jones, right?
Okay.
So, and yeah, you used to be able to speak, teach you Chippewa, Dene, and Cree at the schools all the way up till junior high, and now I'm going to go old school and at St. John's junior high, and I think I was there the last year that it was in existence. Then now the superstore's there.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. So this is like fascinating to me how you got started as like a business person. So you graduate high school, and then like most people that I know, for the most part, like start working at Syncrude, Suncor, CNRL Nexon, or a contractor of some sorts. And then you decided to go a different path almost in regards to what you were going to do after high school, which is really entrepreneurial, how you got there eventually.
Well, actually, I did work out at the sites for a while.
That's right.
I started my family young. I have 2 young kids, or they're not so young anymore, Isabella and Hunter. And so I was working out at the plant sites. I started when I was 19,
right?
And then I quit in 2009. My end goal was always to own a business, and I knew that from a very young age. When I was still in high school, I just didn't know how to go about it. Right. So I remember sitting there one day, operating a piece of equipment, and I remember going through social media during my break, and somebody from my home community was like, "Oh, thank you. Somebody gave me the opportunity, and somebody gave me a break and helped me purchase my first piece of equipment. I'm going to start the business." And I remember being bitter and upset that I said, "When is somebody going to help me? How come somebody doesn't give me a chance?" And then I was upset, and I was wasting all this negative energy being upset about something. And then it just dawned on me, the light switch went off, and I was like, you know what? You're upset for the wrong reasons. Focus all that energy on creating this opportunity for yourself, because nobody's going to hand you an opportunity on a silver platter.
That's right.
So then, when you're operating equipment, you have hours on hours to think about whatever, right? So I started focusing all my thoughts and my energy on how to start a business.
Right.
And how do I go about it? And so my main worry was being able to support my family while I was pursuing the business, right? Because when you first start a business, the revenue just doesn't start generating itself.
That's right.
So I said, well, I guess, how could I do this? I need to find a career where it could give me the free time and the flexibility to pursue opening a business and still support my family. So I decided to get my real estate license.
Okay.
So I got my real estate license while I was still working out at the plant sites back in August of 2008. And my goal was to quit and go do real estate while I try to start my business.
Right.
But I realized, oh, geez, I need to have a certain amount of savings.
That's right.
To do that in case it doesn't work out.
That's right.
So I toughed it out, and I worked another 6 months, and I believe I quit working out of the plant sites February 2009.
Yeah.
And I never looked back, I guess. So I did real estate for 5 years, and in the meantime, I was able to start Saskana Group of Companies.
And what is that company all about?
Well, first of all, Saskana in my language actually means my children. So when I was thinking about starting the business and the name, I thought about what's important and what my end goal was, and it was basically to provide for my community, my family, and to leave and potentially and hopefully leave a legacy for the next generation, being my children or whatnot. So I called it Saskana, and Dene, it means my children.
Right.
So then I had an opportunity to pursue the safety work out at one of the mines.
Okay.
And so one of my friends gave me an opportunity after me getting everything kind of set up in place. And so I started Saskana Safety.
Right.
Right. And then, but then unfortunately that opportunity fell through. And then I started the company back in 2010. And when I kind of sat there not doing much for the first year, and then I met one of my good friends, Jamie Maddie.
Right.
He said he has a strong safety background, him and his wife Ashley. And he said, well, honestly, Justin, I'm looking for new opportunity, new options. So I said, well, why don't we become partners? Or actually, it was his idea. He says, why don't you make me be one of your partners? I have a strong safety background. And I said, okay. And we became business partners. And then we started off like that. And a couple of years, we were, just primarily in safety work, contracting NCSOs out and safety professionals.
Right.
And then, in 2014, the downturn hit, right? The oil kind of crashed. Yeah. And then he said, we got to do something because the safety market is dying down.
That's right.
And I said, well, we have to diversify.
Right.
You know, we can't just put all of our eggs in one basket.
Right.
And then which led to us expanding to construction services, staffing. We purchased insulation blankets, soft cover fabrication shop from CETA, or half of it, I should say.
Yeah.
And we got electrical division, and you know, a couple other ventures on the go as well.
Yeah, it's definitely ballooned into a pretty like substantial, well-rounded organization in regards to the services that are offered.
Well, you know, I think for a period of time there, we wanted to be the company that never said no. You know, we were pursuing the opportunity.
That's
right.
right.
No matter how big or how small, and you know, and that's how we got by. You know, we basically did whatever we had to do to make ends meet, and then eventually all the hard work and fortitude paid off, and you know, we've had some strategic alliances and diversified in the right regions, right, or in the right scopes of services, I should say, and that basically led us to having some stability and being able to now we could say no, like,
yeah,
you know, we don't have to say yes to everything.
That's right.
So now it's
That's
a matter
right.
of just not overcommitting and managing our growth, right?
Right. Very cool. Well, listen, Tanner gave me the signal that he's got his questions ready for the Mac City Minute. So he's going to ask you some questions. But before we get started, got to give a big shout out to the Mac City Minute sponsor for today's episode. It is NABA. NABA, thank you very much for supporting this. If you guys don't know what NABA is all about, definitely go to their Facebook page, check them out. They have an upcoming event, trade show coming up. I think it's a virtual trade show. When I know. Definitely check out NABA. Thank you very much for sponsoring this segment. Tanner, hit Justin with the Mac City Minute.
Alrighty, question number 1. What is the weirdest thing you've ever had to auction off?
Jeez, what is the weirdest thing I ever had to auction off? I had to auction off a wooden horse that somebody made for the Kids Forever. I used to have to auction stuff for voluntarily for Kids Forever Foundation, right. And a gentleman made the kid's horse, and I ended up auctioning it off for, I think it was $20,000.
Holy!
I got a couple of the right people in a bidding war.
Right.
Must have been, like, was it real? Was it a real horse? Or?
It would have been cheaper to buy a real horse, but it was just like a small rocking horse for a toddler.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Question number 2. What is your favorite part of owning a business within Wood Buffalo?
Well, honestly, the one of my favorite parts is the community in Wood Buffalo is so supportive and inclusive. So and being able to hire local Indigenous people and watch them grow as a person and their career grow as well.
Question number 3. What is one service your business provides that might shock people?
Well, I think it's pretty tough to shock people in Fort McMurray nowadays, but you know, I would say the blanket shop. You know, a lot of people don't know about that. It's a fairly new acquisition, so we provide the insulated blankets for piping and flanging or welding blankets.
Right.
Question number 4. What is the story behind the best round of golf you've ever played?
The best round of golf, I was playing with a gentleman by the name of Don Adams at Miskinaw Golf Course years ago in the original setup, and we're just playing a regular round at men's night, and I was essentially couldn't miss a shot, and I ended up shooting 8 under 64.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And your final question. What is your proudest moment in your time as a business owner?
Well, when people ask me this, the one thing that I always say that one of the things that I'm most proud of, and Elliot was there too, is the mentoring at Father Patrick Mercady for the Paul Martin Aboriginal Youth Entrepreneurship Program, right? So to be able to encourage the youth and, you know, kind of break the cycle of them thinking that they could only aspire for something and they could actually aspire for whatever they want, right? So pretty proud of that.
Those have been your 5 questions.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal program that they had, and the growth that you saw with those children or young adults throughout that program, and especially some that, like, I was able to see the following year, unbelievable.
Oh, for sure. And, you know, myself coming from a small rural Indigenous community coming into the moving into the city and whatnot, I think one of the biggest obstacles is the self-belief and knowing that, you just need somebody to believe in you and somebody to basically give you the right push in the right directions to let you know that you're capable of accomplishing more than you think.
That's right.
Right. So, and that's all it takes sometimes, right?
It was huge. So let's switch gears into, some people might think it's a hobby for you, which I know it kind of is, but business gets done on this platform as well. You are an avid golfer.
Yeah.
How did you get into golf?
Well, I remember my first round of golf. I was 15 years old. Myself and one of my best friends, actually my longest friend, is Jamie London. We tree planted in the bush for, I think it was 60 days straight.
Okay.
And we stayed in a tent, isolated. We never came to town for anything. We tree planted. We're 15 years old. We came out after 2 months solid working every day.
Yeah.
And we got paid. And we looked at our paycheck. It was $1,500. We looked at each other like, we're rich. we were loaded. And so, we decided to go on a vacation. So we took a road trip down to Camrose. We went and seen Roadside Attraction, my first concert ever. Tragically Hip were headlining. Okay. And then from there, we went to the pilgrimage at Lake St. Anne. And when we got to the pilgrimage at Lake St. Anne, which is just outside of Alberta Beach, Jamie said, let's go play golf. I was like, what's golf? It's like, you just go over there and hit the ball around. I said, okay. So we went there. And we played one round. I said, ran around the golf course like a couple of wild teenagers and had a blast. Never thought of it again until I was about 19 years old. Yeah. And then one of my other good friends, Kelsey Janvier, he was golfing pretty regularly then. So I said, I'll do something with him. So started golfing. And then it turned out that I was getting good at it and I fell in love with the sport, right? And then me being as crazily competitive as I was, especially back then, I just couldn't stop until I could be the best I could be, I guess, right?
Right. And now you have a golf tournament coming up.
That's right, yeah. So apart from Saskana, I'm also, like I mentioned in the beginning, I work with my home community of Janvier and the Chard Metis. So on the Métis side of the community, it's the Chard Metis Nation. We're actually having our first annual golf tournament, the Chard Metis Invitational, on July 8th, and all the proceeds from that golf tournament will go towards social programming for the community.
Right on. So how can people register, get in contact with that, get involved with that golf tournament that you have going on?
Well, you could either reach out to me directly or you could email us at info@chardmetis.com. Okay. And we'll have the sponsorship packages rolling out here shortly.
Nice. That's good. It's nice things are kind of loosening up a bit in regards to COVID restrictions and whatnot. So hopefully this summer we see a lot of that kind of stuff going on and people coming out to participate more than anything else.
Oh, I hope so. I was actually planning on having this golf tournament last year, but because of the restrictions and the pandemic and whatnot, we decided to postpone it a year. Yeah. And I think the timing is great. The restrictions are starting to loosen up. Business is starting to get a little bit busier. Oil prices are up. Yeah. So hopefully we could raise some resources for the community and the members.
There you go. Now you said you're father too. I know this, but how old are your kids now? Like I know one for sure. Your son has graduated. Has your daughter graduated from high school?
My daughter graduated in 2020. She's 19. Yeah. She just got accepted to SAIT. She took the first year she went to Grand McEwen. Okay. And then she took a year off, and now she's actually applied for multiple universities. So the first yes she got is from SAIT, and I think she's waiting for a couple. Okay. That's my daughter Isabella. She goes by Bella. My son Hunter graduates this year. Okay. He's 17. Yeah. And he told me that he's applied for SAIT as well, and his goal is to go to university in Calgary.
He is only 17?
Yeah.
He's huge.
He is, yeah.
He's a big boy. I figured this because I saw a picture you guys went out, I want to say fishing like during the pandemic, and I saw something on Facebook. Yeah. I'm like, oh, he's an adult. He's only 17.
He's only 17. He turns 18 here in May.
Oh my goodness.
And but he's fairly tall, but with his hair, it gives him an extra 2-3 inches of height, right? So
that's awesome. Yeah. Well, listen, man, that was the end of 20 minutes. Excellent. It flies. So before I cut you loose, though, everybody gets a shameless shout out or plug. So you got the camera, the mic, the lights. Have fun.
Again, I just want to plug the golf tournament again. It's July 8th. It's going to be at the Miskinaw Golf Club. All proceeds will be going to the social programs for the community, for the Chard Metis Nation. We hope to see you there.
Cool. There we go. Well, Justin, thank you very much for coming today. Do appreciate it. Please feel free to come back as many times as you want, man.
I'll call you every 5 minutes.
There we go. Awesome. For McMurray with Buffalo, the rest of the world, thank you for tuning in. Big shout out to Noral Toyota for being our title sponsor, and another big shout out to NABA for sponsoring the Max City Minute. We do appreciate it. If you're out there and you want to sponsor the show, please feel free to give us a call. We want to keep this going as long as possible. I hope you're having a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
What a deadly old way to end another morning show. Later, boss.
It's so ballistic!
Talk about quenching your ugly thirst.